so today's video is going to be a review. I haven't done one of these on my channel in a hot minute, so please bear with me because I was actually kind of nervous about filming this. Reviews are kind of intimidating to me because it like takes me back to the days of doing book reports in school and like presenting projects and stuff, and I just don't want to forget the things that I really want to say. But I have been trying out this product for about a month and a half, so I think I have a good grasp on my feelings about it, and that is the Dior Diorskin Airflash Spray Foundation. I found mine at Sephora, and here's a little close-up of the packaging. I do really like the packaging. I think it just looks really nice, you know, sitting on my vanity and whatnot. So first I want to talk a little bit about what it is and what it claims to do. So I'm going to kind of paraphrase from the description on Sephora.com. So it's a really, really ultra light formula, and it's meant to give you kind of a soft, velvety look to the skin. So I would definitely not describe this as a flat, matte look or anything like that, and I do not think that it is meant to be dewy in any way either. It's kind of like a happy medium, like a satin. And I think it said there's mother of pearl pigments in here, and that is what really gives you that ultra even but still radiant look to the skin. And it's basically meant to give you that airbrush look without actually using an airbrush machine. Instead you're using a can. Okay, so let's talk about the price for a second. So it is, I believe it's $62 for 2.3 ounces of product. Now when I first saw that, I was like, what? And I definitely broke out into a cold sweat when I was walking to the register with this bad boy. But after thinking about it for a while, you know, 2.3 ounces is actually a lot of product. With most high-end foundations, for example, Makeup Forever HD foundation, you get 1 ounce for I think $40 or $42. Urban Decay Naked Skin Foundation is $39, so $40 for 1 ounce. So say you really like those foundations and you wear them all the time and you repurchase it. So 2 bottles right there is $80 for 2 ounces, and you still don't get the same amount of product as you do in this. Kind of just depends how you look at it. Don't get me wrong, it is high end. That's why I wanted to make sure I really tested it out before I came back with my thoughts on it. So before I go any further, I just want to give you my spiel about my skin type and everything. So I have normal combination skin. Doesn't get super oily, doesn't get super dry, but I do get some shine in the T-zone from time to time, and I wear an NC 20 in MAC shade. So my shade in the Airflash foundation is 201 Linen, and I believe there's 10 shades altogether in the range, which it's not that great, but I do like the fact that this shade seems to be perfect for me. I do notice when I apply it, and you might notice this in the demo, when I first go to apply it, it seems like it's a little dark, but by the time I go through my under eye concealer routine and everything like that, which I don't think I included in the demo, but you guys have seen that a million times, and blend that all into the rest of the foundation, I find it works perfectly, so I like that about it. Dior recommends 2 different ways that you can apply this foundation. You can either spray it directly onto your face for lighter coverage, or you can use a brush for a bit more of a fuller coverage effect, and that's the way that I apply it, so I'm going to show you that in a moment. But first I want to talk about the spray method. So I did kind of accidentally throw away the instructions, but from what I can remember, it basically said to just extend your arm straight out in front of you and then bend it to a 90-degree angle, which I thought was kind of obvious, but that's what the instructions said. And then you basically spray it in a Z motion, so across your forehead, down across your nose, and then ending by your chin. Now, I think I know people get really good results and they really like that method. I think mostly because it's just so quick, but I found that a lot of the product just kind of bounced off my face, and then it would, you know, create a little cloud, and I felt like it was settling on stuff. But that didn't bug me as much as the fact that it just gets everywhere when you spray it directly onto your face. Every single nook and cranny and crevasse on your face, it will find its way into. I would even protect my hairline with a tissue and it would still get in my hair, in my eyebrows. That was just not my favorite way of applying it, but I would definitely say if you want to try this, I would definitely recommend trying, you know, spraying it directly onto your face at least a few times, because that's what the packaging is intended for. And you might find that you really like doing it that way, but I don't think I'm defeating the purpose of the product by applying it with a brush, because I've tried it both ways, and honestly, I cannot tell the difference between the two. I really feel like it looks identical regardless of how you apply it. So as far as applying it with a brush goes, you can do that a few different ways. You can apply it or spray it directly onto a mixing palette, which I haven't been able to find mine, so or you can just spray it right onto the brush. But I still feel like a little bit of the product just bounces off of the brush. So what I do instead is, are you ready for it? I use a Dixie cup, and I use that instead, and I will show you exactly how I do it. But I like to use this foundation with a kabuki style brush, which you guys recommended to me, and it's definitely the way that I prefer to apply it. So any of these will work great. These are Sigma, like the Sigmax brushes, F82, you know, a flat top kabuki. This is an F80, and no, I still cannot remember the numbers of these. It's terrible. Or the angled kabuki F84. I'm definitely an F84 girl. I just love this brush. I always go back to it. I like that it's angled. It just kind of like hugs your face and feels really good when you apply it. So I'm going to stop rambling and jump into the demo. Getting started, I have nothing on my face besides moisturizer, so no primers or anything like that. I'm going to give this a little shake and spray about 3 seconds worth onto the side of the Dixie cup. And then this is nice because it does contain most of the mist, so it just kind of settles inside the cup, and then, you know, it's not just floating off, getting sacrificed to the makeup gods. Usually I try to aim for the side because I got a little bit in the bottom this time, but those grooves down there can kind of trap the product a little bit, so hopefully you can kind of see how it's really, really thin and very liquidy, but it's not like runny or watery at all. It does kind of stay put where you spray it. Another reason I love to use the F84 with this is because it's angled, so it just is really easy to just get it in there and get the product on the brush. And I just pretty much start applying it all over. And the thing that I love the most about this product is the fact that it is so thin. I mean, it's super comfortable to wear. Doesn't feel like you're wearing a ton of heavy foundation, but at the same time, it really corrects your imperfections and stuff like that really, really well for being such, you know, such a thin formula. So my skin is actually horrible right now, which stinks for me, but it's actually kind of nice for this demo because you can see how it really does cover, you know, your imperfections and blemishes and whatnot. Once I did discover a way that I really like to apply this foundation, I do really like applying it now because it just blends in so effortlessly into the skin. There's not a lot of like drag like there is with heavier foundations. It just is so easy to smooth over the skin. And it feels cold, which is kind of weird. I guess it's just because it's in a spray can. Couldn't tell you exactly why that is. So even though the shade, I think whenever I apply it and I'm looking in the mirror, it always looks like it could be a little dark. But by the time everything is said and done, I think it actually does a really good job of, you know, matching my face to my body because I don't tan my face. So that's always a little bit lighter than the rest of my body. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and finish up my makeup, then I'll be back to show you how I set this foundation. And we're back. So I'm just going to touch up my concealer really quickly. Like I said, I've been having some breakouts lately. So I'm just using this L'Oreal Super Blendable Crayon Concealer in Fair Light. And one thing I think is worth mentioning about this foundation is the fact that it almost sets up on its own. It kind of dries down in about a minute or so to a very like velvety powder finish. So if you have dry skin, you may discover that you don't even want to set it with a powder. I always do though, just because I think it can make any foundation last longer. So I'm going to use the Rimmel Stay Matte powder in Nude Beige, which is kind of funny because this is such an inexpensive drugstore powder, but I mean, whatever works, right? And it's light enough that it doesn't like change the look of the foundation or make it look heavy or cakey. Okay, so let's get down to the dirty. Do I like this product? Would I recommend it? Would I repurchase it? Well, first of all, I really, really love this foundation. I was super impressed by it, especially by the wear of it because it is such a thin formula. It actually holds up really well. I mean, it's not like a Revlon Color Stay Whipped where it's going to last for 24 hours or whatever, but considering the thin consistency, I think it holds up pretty dang well. You could probably go about solid 7 hours with this foundation, maybe touching up after a few hours. And then if you wear it any longer than that, you're definitely going to have to touch up. I use a powder foundation just because I think that it puts back any coverage where coverage has been lost. So I like my Hello Flawless custom powder cover up in Petal to touch up the Dior Airflash foundation. It's definitely not an everyday product for me just because of the fact that, you know, it is more high-end. So I just personally don't want to go through it that quickly. Like, I reserve it for when I'm doing more full-on makeup and stuff like that. But I would definitely recommend it to anybody who just wants to get out of their ordinary routine. Maybe you're sick of your routine and you want to try something unique like this that still performs really, really well. You know, if you love makeup, if it's your hobby, I would definitely recommend to try this. I think you'd be very happy with it. It's a great product. One thing that I would have to say is that I'm not sure I would recommend it for oily skin types, just because of the fact that it is so thin. You know, I even find that I think the oils can just come through the foundation more quickly because of the density of it. So it's not necessarily that it's a super greasy, oily product. It's definitely not. Like I said, it's not a dewy type of foundation. Use caution. I may not recommend it for super oily skin types, and know that you're probably gonna have to touch it up. My favorite thing about it is that it looks absolutely stunning in photographs, on camera. I know that not everybody cares about the video thing, but in photographs it's absolutely beautiful. It takes the cake for the best performing foundation in that sense, for me, definitely. And it's a dream to apply once you figure out how to apply it. And I do think I would definitely repurchase this product again. I don't think I would dash out to Sephora the second that I ran out, although after 6 weeks, it still feels like there's a lot of stuff in here. Like, it doesn't feel like I'm running out. So that's good. Like I said, it's a little pricier and it's just more of a high-end item, so I would keep it in the vault of my brain and know that it works well for me and that I really love it, so that someday, you know, if I want to treat myself again, I can repurchase it. So I think that covers everything. If I did forget anything, I'll be sure to include it in the down bar below or in the info box. So I really hope this was helpful to you guys. I have been looking at this foundation for years on Sephora.com and in the store, just lusting after it for years, and it's the first Dior product I've ever tried or ever owned, so that was exciting. Hopefully you found this review helpful, and I am excited to continue to film more, and hopefully I'll get better as it goes on. But thank you guys so much for checking out this video, and I will see you in my next one. Bye guys!